I have to be honest with you, I've been terrible with consistency. Now, I have to give a shout out to Unbreakable Stories with Terry Wade Thompson and Bunny Rose. Yesterday, we had a live, and the topic was how to be consistent. And as I was thinking about the concept of being consistent and my YouTube channel here, I realized that I'm not the best example of consistency. Now, if you look at the topic on my channel, I talk about goal setting and leadership and how to be achieving more in your life. And guess what? I'm sometimes the first one, and you can see the examples on my channel. My last video was in August, and the one before that was in February. So, what is going on right here? So, as we discussed yesterday, I realized that it's all about values. Because if you want to be consistent, you need to do what you want, but it has to be in line with your values. And thinking about about consistency, I realized that one of the key value I have for the last few years is about peace. Whatever I do, I want to be at peace with what activity I experiment with or the goals I set. So, if I want to be at peace, here are the key points. My family comes first with my health and my life. Second comes my community, and then my job, and then all the other activities I want to do. Okay. Now, it doesn't mean that being at peace means that I'm not taking risk or go out in the uncomfortable zone to try something new. I can do that. But I realize that often the value of being at peace or making peace with things I have to do has been often the leading reason for what I do. Okay, so the question is how can I make sure that if I set a goal, it follows my value of being at peace with myself so that actually I progress where I need to go. Now, too often we blame ourselves saying, oh, you do this, sir, you haven't done that. You're setting goal and you're not getting it done. But sometimes when you point the finger at you, it's not helping at all. And yesterday at the Unbreakable Stories, we talked about the fact that often focusing on the process, doing one step at a time, is often much better than focusing on the person and their action. It makes it so that a process sets some specific steps, and then you follow the steps, and then you can reach where you want to go. Okay, so that means that in some ways we have to stop thinking about what I think, what I want to do, and what is the next goal I want to do. I need to focus on process. Can it work? I'm sure. But the big issue I realize as well is I have an addiction, and that addiction is to learning. My one word is learning, and I love learning. But if you think what's his name? Tony Robbins, he often talks about execution. You can have all the knowledge of the world. I feel that I have a lot of knowledge. But if you don't execute on that knowledge to go to the next step, it's the knowledge is not useful. The knowledge will not get you anywhere. So here I have to figure out how I can find a way to execute, be at peace with what I want to do so that I can achieve some of the goals I want to do. And as I was reflecting this afternoon, I went for a walk. I was thinking of two people that mentioned a few things a few months ago. I was looking on a piece of paper, there's a post-it actually, and on it, I think it's Evan Carmichael or one of his video. And the saying was that you need to make your agenda your bucket list. And at first I said, well, this is not very good because a bucket list often is the thing you want to do before uh, the end of all. But you can make a bucket list can be so long, and you can have a bucket list and having 100 years of bucket list activities you want to do. And I thought if I take my agenda and I make it my bucket list, So that means that, yes, I will include what I have to do for my family, for me, for my job and community, but also I will make sure I include time to do what will bring me closer to my goal. Because if you don't plan it, it won't get done. For example, this video is going to be on my channel today because I put in my agenda that I was to do a video today. It's simple. How come I didn't put it on my agenda last week, yesterday, last month? That's a good question. So here you go. Having an agenda is an amazing thing to do, but also use it with intention. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, I also was thinking about Terry Wade Johnson yesterday at the Unbreakable story, and actually I got a book from him, and it's called Bluff. So you're the bottom line up front. And his idea is that if you are planning every day, what is your bottom line? What is that one thing you need to do? Then the chances are that you'll get that thing done because it is that one thing. We're not talking about doing 100 things in one day because then it becomes a to-do list. And you know as well as me that the to-do list doesn't always get done, or sometimes more things get included on it, and rarely do we scratch off some of these points. Sometimes the to-do list is way too long and is not even in line with what we do. So there you go. What is the plan for the coming days, coming weeks, coming month? That's a good question. Will I be consistent? Oh, that's a good question. On the other hand, let's see if I can live with more intention and then think of what is that one thing I want to do that I can include in my agenda so that I can get this one done. Because if you are thinking of transformation, if you want to transform your life towards where you want to go, it's not just knowing about it. Because I've known about my goals for years. They outline in journals. I know what I want to do, but I'm not executing, or the execution of those ideas, the execution on that knowledge is not quite there yet. So next time I talk to Evan Carmichael, that is my biggest thing. How can I go from knowledge to execution so that we can actually achieve transformation? Because at the end of everything, we want to make our lives better today than it was yesterday. And if that can be done every day, imagine where it can be in a week, a month, a year, in a decade. We have no idea where we're going to be at the time. So here's my message today. We know a lot of stuff. You do know a lot of stuff as well. Now, if there's no execution on what we know, we're not going to transform who we are towards where we want to be. So on that note, that message is for myself as in to you. In some ways, I believe that it's always important to reflect to become a better person, and I do believe that we can do this. On this, I'm going to put a link here to another video that I've done in the last few weeks with all kind of topics. But the idea here for me is indeed, and for you, let's see how we can promote execution by maximizing our agenda. On this, I'll see you in the next video.